A secret notebook written by legendary actor Burt Lancaster surfaced with a list of names that made even the most powerful figures in the industry hold their breath. Hollywood was shaken by a revelation no one saw coming. It wasn't a memoir, and it wasn't gossip. It was a blacklist. 10 of Hollywood's brightest stars, described by Lancaster as the most dangerous people ever to walk its golden streets. But why would a man celebrated for his integrity and activism feel compelled to leave behind such a damning record? And more importantly, who were the people he exposed? Trust me, when we reach the number 5, the truth will leave you speechless. 1. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, the cinematic hero we all admired, hid a ruthless darkness behind his charming smile. According to Burt Lancaster's confidential diary, Douglas wasn't just a movie star, he was a predator, willing to destroy anyone in his way to maintain power in Hollywood. The man we saw on screen, the fierce and commanding figure, was a far cry from the calculating manipulator he was off camera. Douglas wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. He aggressively interfered in casting decisions, pressuring producers to cast his choice of actors, no matter the consequences. But that wasn't the worst of it. He used his position to abuse his power with young actresses, making sure they understood who held the real influence in Hollywood. One chilling story detailed how he dropped an actress, Lisa Avery, from a major film project in 1959 simply because she refused his invitation to dinner. This wasn't a coincidence, it was a warning to anyone who dared stand up to him. But what made Kirk Douglas even more terrifying was his ability to manipulate beyond just Hollywood set politics. He used drugs and his wealth to bend directors, producers, and co-stars to his will. Those who resisted his influence were either removed from projects or faced consequences that no one dared speak of. In the world of Kirk Douglas, there were no boundaries, only control, and anyone who didn't fall in line paid the price. 2. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor wasn't just a Hollywood icon. She was a master of control, manipulating everyone around her. During the filming of Cleopatra in 1962, a single incident exposed the dark side of her persona. It wasn't just her beauty that demanded attention, it was her power. When a colleague wore a dress matching hers, Taylor locked herself in her dressing room, throwing the entire production into chaos. For 14 hours, the crew waited in silence, unable to continue filming until she calmed down. But the tantrum didn't end there. When the director finally pushed for the shoot to resume, she erupted, hurling a glass of wine in his face, plunging the set into a heavy silence. This wasn't the behavior of a spoiled diva. It was a calculated move to remind everyone who truly ruled the set. Taylor wasn't just manipulating the crew, she was orchestrating Hollywood itself. Her marriages, particularly to Mike Todd and Richard Burton, were more than love stories. They were power plays. She used her charm to control her husband's careers while secretly undermining them for her own gain. What we saw on screen was just a mask, hiding the ruthless strategist who played the game of Hollywood like no one else. And her schemes didn't stop there. Behind her violet eyes was a woman willing to tear anyone apart to get what she wanted. 3. Natalie Wood. Behind her fragile image was a master manipulator who wielded her charm like a weapon. According to Burt Lancaster, Natalie's behavior on set was a strategy to control everything and everyone around her. She didn't just fake vulnerability, she weaponized it. One of her most shocking acts was when she staged a dramatic fainting incident on the set of a film, forcing the crew to halt production for hours. All because a co-star was chosen over her in a scene. She didn't just cry for sympathy, she created a crisis. And when it wasn't her emotional breakdowns, it was her romantic entanglements. In 1961, she had a secret affair with Hollywood mogul Jack Warner and used their relationship to pressure him into firing a male actor she didn't like. But the most chilling part? Burt Lancaster hinted that her tragic death in 1981 wasn't just an accident. Some believe it was the result of the schemes and manipulations she had set in motion years before. Natalie's life and death left behind a legacy of deceit, and no one was ever quite the same after crossing paths with her. 4. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney, a beloved figure known for his cheerful comedic roles, hid a sinister side that few knew about. Burt Lancaster's journal paints a chilling picture of Rooney as someone who thrived on humiliating those around him, especially the background actors. He didn't just correct mistakes, he relished in watching others crumble. On set, Rooney would mock actors for the smallest errors, often laughing at their expense in front of the entire crew. But it wasn't just the actors who felt his cruelty. He treated his wives in a similar abusive manner, controlling them physically and mentally. Burt recounted one incident where Rooney slapped his wife on a film set just because she was running late, a brutal act that left her emotionally scarred. This twisted need for dominance didn't stop there. Mickey's marriages were filled with manipulation, where he treated his wives like servants. His legacy is not only built on his films, but on the broken spirits he left behind. For Burt, Rooney's sadistic pleasure in control was one of the darkest traits in Hollywood history. 5. Marilyn Monroe. According to Burt Lancaster's notes, Monroe didn't just use her fame to influence directors or co-stars. She controlled them with her emotional outbursts. One of the most shocking examples came during the filming of Some Like It Hot in 1959. Monroe would frequently disappear from the set without warning, causing hours of delays while the crew waited for her return. But that wasn't the only way she manipulated those around her. Burt reveals that Monroe used her romantic entanglements to leverage power over influential people. When Jack Warner suggested she collaborate with another actor, Marilyn threw a dramatic emotional crisis, forcing Warner to make decisions that favored only her. Marilyn's control tactics weren't limited to her relationships. Her behavior became a weapon. She used her fragility to turn every situation to her advantage, holding the entire film production hostage to her whims. According to Burt, Marilyn wasn't just playing the innocent girl. She was an expert at using her vulnerability as a tool of manipulation. And as Burt suggests, the mysterious circumstances surrounding her death in 1962 were a consequence of the very web of manipulation she had woven around herself. 6. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, the charming and debonair hero of classic films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood, had a darker, more sinister side that few could have guessed. Behind his dashing smile and swashbuckling roles, Burt Lancaster paints a chilling portrait of a man who abused his fame and power to manipulate and control everyone around him. Flynn was known for his lavish parties, decadent gatherings filled with drugs, prostitutes, and violence. He wielded his wealth and influence to escape serious consequences for his actions, and his criminal activities went unpunished for years. One of the most disturbing aspects of Flynn's life, according to Burt, was how he treated women. He saw them as tools to satisfy his desires, only to discard them once they had served their purpose. But Flynn's reach extended even further. He used his connections within the film industry to shield himself from accusations and manipulate situations to his advantage. One of the most notorious stories involved his arrest for drug trafficking, where he quickly used his Hollywood clout to secure his release, continuing his criminal activities without facing repercussions. Burt Lancaster didn't just see Flynn as a charming actor. He saw a cold, heartless monster, a man willing to destroy anyone who stood in his way. Errol Flynn's legacy isn't just one of films. It's a dark chapter in Hollywood history that showcases the dangerous power of fame and the lengths people will go to protect it. 7. Spencer Tracy, the devil in the dressing room. Spencer Tracy, the revered star known for his roles in Judgment at Nuremberg and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, was celebrated as Hollywood's epitome of integrity. Yet behind the facade of the perfect leading man, Burt Lancaster uncovered a man who thrived on cruelty and manipulation. Tracy's method of control wasn't through loud outbursts or public tirades. No, his weapon was silence, an ice-cold silence that left everyone around him on edge. According to Burt, Tracy was a master of psychological abuse, subtly bullying anyone who dared cross him. He used his influence to torment those around him, particularly his co-stars and crew, using passive aggression as a tool to break them down. But Tracy's most chilling act of manipulation came behind the scenes. He used his power to intimidate people on set, demanding they follow his will regardless of the consequences. And if you resisted, Tracy didn't hesitate to punish you, either through subtle threats or by turning the crew against you. Burt Lancaster's notes reveal a side of Spencer Tracy that Hollywood never wanted to acknowledge. A man who used his reputation as a good guy to mask his darker impulses. And when his anger boiled over, those who dared challenge him were left in his wake, defeated and humiliated. Tracy's ability to control through silence left scars that would last a lifetime for those who worked with him. 8. Henry Fonda, the silent tyrant. Henry Fonda, beloved for his roles in The Grapes of Wrath and 12 Angry Men, was considered Hollywood's quintessential hero. But according to Burt Lancaster's shocking journal, beneath that unassuming exterior lay a master manipulator, a man whose silence was as dangerous as any act of violence. Fonda's cruelty didn't come in the form of loud outbursts or physical aggression. Instead, he wielded silence like a weapon. Burt revealed that Fonda often used this coldness to psychologically break his co-stars, making them feel inferior and unworthy. This was especially true in his own family, where his daughter Jane Fonda has openly discussed how her father's harsh, emotionless demeanor created a cold, distant relationship. Lancaster's journal also exposed Fonda's ability to manipulate his colleagues into submission. He wouldn't confront them head-on, but instead he would use passive-aggressive tactics, such as withholding approval, leaving his victims in a constant state of anxiety. His calculated silence was a tool to maintain control and power, one that, tragically, left deep emotional scars on those closest to him. Henry Fonda's legacy as a great actor has always been celebrated, but Burt Lancaster's account forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the most dangerous figures are those who hide behind their calm, controlled facades. Finally, behind the glamorous facade of Hollywood's biggest stars, Burt Lancaster uncovered shocking truths that exposed the ruthless, manipulative, and dark sides of these icons. From Elizabeth Taylor's power games to Jane Fonda's coercive tactics, their legacies were built on more than just talent. They were fueled by control and deceit. The world may never see them the same way again. What do you think? Who was the most ruthless of them all? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to follow the secrets of the biggest icons in history.